Hey YouTube, this is Ben Potter here, and today I want to talk a little bit about a pedal that I got for Christmas, a pedal that maybe a lot of you guys have or at least have some experience with, and a pedal that kind of gets a little bit of a bad rap, I think. And I want to talk a little bit about how I am using it on my pedal board and have kind of gotten some pretty usable tones with it. So the pedal that I'm talking about is the Boss DS1. I hear that it is the most sold distortion pedal on the market. And a lot of that probably has to do with its cost. It's about a $50 pedal new, and you can get them used for probably 20 to 30 bucks. But it's also been around for a long time. And I don't really use a lot of heavy distortion. Doesn't really fit the style of music that I play. But as I'm building a collection of pedals, just with the history and the legacy of the DS1 and the fact that everybody has it, I thought it'd be a good one to add to the collection. And so I got it Christmas morning, opened it up, put it on my board, and I actually put it on my board exactly where you see it now. The pedal that I replaced with it was between my Analog Man printed tone and my full tone OCD, and that has kind of turned out to be the magic spot for it on my board. I've kind of played around with the order of those three pedals and find that I really like the way that this works. Now, on its own, the DS1, I plugged it in, kind of got it to the best that I felt I could get it to sound on its own. And I noticed that it sounded pretty mid-scooped and sounded a little fizzy on the top end. And the top end fizz is what a lot of people complain about with the DS1 and a lot of people talk about. So what I did was I used the OCD and the printed tone as light overdrives. A lot of people don't use the OCD that way, but I run it in low peak mode, turn the drive off or almost all the way off. With a Strat, I probably turn the drive up just a little bit. You can kind of see where it's set there. So it's not really driving a lot. It's just a pretty transparent light overdrive. And then I can stack the two together for kind of a medium crunch tone. And if I need more than that, then I can turn the drive up on either the printed tone or the OCD. So I had the DS1 on, and I decided to kick on the OCD just to see what they sounded like stacked. And the OCD completely changed the characteristic of the tone of the DS1 and kind of tightened it up a little bit and made it sound really usable in my opinion. Now, typically you would not run a heavy distortion like a DS1 into an overdrive pedal or an already driving amp. Typically you would run those types of things into a clean amp or into clean pedals. But I think because the drive on the DS1 is so low, and one of the things that I kind of did is I turned the level down on the DS1 so it's not really pushing the OCD at all. So with the combination of the low drive on the OCD and the low level on the DS1, I think this works pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play for you, I'm going to play the DS1 on its own, and then I will stack it with the OCD. And then I'm also going to stack the printed tone in front of it. The printed tone has a little bit of a mid-lift, mid-push to it, and it's also adding a little bit of drive. And so when I add that in front of the DS1, it kind of fills out those mids a little bit more and kind of clears it up a little bit, and adds a little bit more drive or saturation to it. So that could work well as kind of another overdriven tone or maybe as a lead tone. So I'll just kind of play around and show you those things. You can see with the camera on the pedal board what I'm doing and what I'm adjusting. I'm using a Fender Mexican Strat into my Blues Junior. It is the Tweed Blues Junior with the Jensen speaker in it, which is really bright. So you'll notice I have the green Fish and Chips EQ pedal on my board that I'm using to kind of tame the top end of that amp. There's another video on my channel that talks about how I'm using that pedal. But basically, with the pedal, with a clean tone, just running the guitar clean into the amp, there's not a huge difference in tone between the pedal being on and off. But when you start introducing overdrive pedals, and especially heavier overdrive pedals, the EQ pedal is really shaving off a lot of top-end fizz and hiss and stuff. So if you're interested in that, check out that other video. So here is the clean tone. I'm on the bridge pickup, which is probably where I'll stay for most of this video. And now here is the DS1 with the, I turn the level up a little bit. Not sure if this will quite be unity, but it should be a little bit closer. So that's the DS1 on its own, the way I have it set. And now here is the DS1 into the OCD. I'll keep the level on the DS1 up, and then I'll turn it down. You can kind of hear that difference. So here's the DS1 with roughly unity level going into the OCD. Turn the level back a little bit. So a little bit of a delay there from the DD7. So here is now, I'll play the DS1 stacked into the OCD, and then I'll add the Analog Man Prince of Tone. So you can see the Prince of Tone is saturating a little bit more and also adding some more mids there to kind of fatten up the tone a little bit. So, let me just quickly show you each of these individually, and then again I'll stack them so you can kind of hear that comparison. And then I've got a loop on the Ditto looper there that I'll play and kind of do some lead work with all three of the pedals on, so you can kind of hear it in context a little bit. So, here is the clean tone again. Take the delay off. So you can hear that volume drop because I've got the level back on the DS1. some ideas of some things if you've got a DS1 and you're not completely happy with the way it sounds, but you've got some other pedals, try stacking them together. Even if you don't have the same pedals that I have here with me, you might find something that works really well for you that gives you a sound that you might like. The way that I like to run my overdrive pedals, just getting rid of the hiss from the amp there. The way that I like to run my overdrive pedals is I like to stack them together anyway. I like to have, you know, like I said, a couple of light overdrives that kind of give me a couple different flavors that I can stack together for a medium overdrive. And I feel like the DS1 is very usable between those other two pedals as a way to give me, you know, if I need something heavier, I've got it there on the board and I can use it. I'm not saying that the DS1 is the best pedal for this application. You know, I'm sure that there's other stuff out there that works, you know, better. But for $50 and a pedal that a lot of people have, I think that it's definitely usable. And if it's not a tone that you use all the time, you only use it here and there, I think it can work great. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope that you guys have a great day. Thanks. Bye.